Swindon 105.5, time just 8 minutes to 11 o'clock. Wow. Rob, sorry, very, very short period of time, but I must pose the problems to you. Swindon has suffered in the recession probably more than an awful lot of towns because of its industrial base, because of its technology base. What are you going to be able to do to get a resurgence of jobs going here?
Well, I'm not going to repeat what I said earlier, Ian, but the corporation tax reform and a lowering of corporation tax is vital. We've got to make sure that the government gets out of the way of businesses, in the sense that we've got to encourage enterprise by trying to create a fair tax system and encourage the creation of jobs. But secondly, we've also got to look at ways of making Britain a much more attractive place for the sort of high-end investment that I think is very, very important. James Dyson's just done a very interesting report for the Conservatives in which he talks about Britain being a high-end, innovative economy. Now, I think that's brilliant, and it's important work that I know the next Conservative government will take on board and start encouraging. But I'm a great believer that Britain can still make things. And in Swindon, we make some of the best things in the world. You know, manufacturing has shrunk under this government from about 23% to only 12%. That's a bigger decline than in the 1980s. Now, any politician worth his salt needs to be concerned about that. And it's my firm belief that even with the low labour costs that exist in other parts of the world, this country is still in a good position to make things. We are on the edge of Western Europe. It's a big market. We have a competitive currency at the moment. And we need to take advantage of these things and encourage more manufacturing, both locally and nationally. It's not going to be easy. I talk to a number of local employers who would like to use British suppliers but feel sometimes that perhaps they're not efficient enough. Well, if that's the case, we need to start asking the questions, working with those companies to try and make sure that their standards are improved. It's going to be hard work, but the one way we're not going to do it is to try and pick winners, which is what Lord Mandelson and his department seem to want to do at the moment. It's not for ministers and bureaucrats to pick winners. It's for ministers to understand that it's enterprise and companies themselves who know best how to resolve their problems, and that government should either get out of the way or lend a helping hand in order to make sure that efficiency is improved.
Robert, you brought up the currency. What's your view on the euro?
Well, I think that membership of the euro is out of the question at the moment. I don't see it as an issue for many years to come, if at all. I think that although Britain is a big economy and would no doubt have had an impact upon euro policy, unlike Greece perhaps, there is no doubt that the membership of the euro would have constrained our discretion on interest rates and would not have allowed our currency to be as competitive as it currently is.
But that means collapse, doesn't it?
Well, the pound has had a roller coaster ride historically, and I understand businesses when they say to me, look, it's difficult for us to plan with a currency that goes up and down. On balance, I think that the case for the euro and British membership of the euro is not made out for Britain, and therefore the decision that was taken was the right one. You asking me 10 years ago, Ian, I think I would have said, well, there is a case for the euro. But I think I've been proved wrong, and I'm prepared to admit that.
OK. You were talking about encouraging jobs. I do notice that all major parties are talking about high-speed rail lines, but nobody's talking about one for Swindon and the West Country.
Well, I know. The North seems to be getting all the cake at the moment. That is because geographically they are, at the moment, quite a long way from London in terms of travel. That's not to say that I, as hopefully the next MP for South Swindon, wouldn't be adding my voice to the need to improve our services to the west. And I'm not just talking about electrification. I'm talking about the fact that a journey from Swindon to London is, I think, now the most expensive train journey in Europe. And I know a lot of people who, for example, are driving over to Didcot, getting on the train there, or buying a split ticket because it is so much cheaper. Now, that doesn't make sense to me at all. And I want to work with First Great Western and anybody else who has a concern in the vitality of our rail links to try and make sure that Swindon isn't put at a disadvantage when it comes to easy travel to London.
I don't understand why it hasn't been included, because Swindon connects to Bristol, connects to the West Country, connects to South Wales.
Yes.
And being from where you come from originally...
Absolutely, and my folks down in West Wales, it'd be great for them to have an electrified line. The government and Lord Adonis have talked about electrification of the Western Line, but frankly they haven't really explained how they're going to pay for it. And at the moment I think it's just all hot air rather than something concrete. I'm not going to sit here and pretend that suddenly a fund of money is going to appear for electrification. What people in Swindon should know is that I give you my 100% commitment to work towards improving rail services to and from Swindon.
One of the big areas, and we literally only have 2 minutes to talk about this, and I'm sorry it's so short, so I do apologise. One of the big areas is affordable housing in Swindon. What do you think the Conservative government are going to be able to do about bringing in affordable houses for people, quite so many, who are moving into this area?
Well, yes. I mean, this is 2 minutes is just not enough time to talk about.
No, I appreciate this.
I'm glad to see that the council has committed itself to a proper ratio of affordable housing when new bills exist in Swindon. It didn't happen in the Northern Development Area, which was, of course, under the Labour Council, and it's a bit rich for Labour politicians to start having a go at the Conservatives when it comes to social housing. If you look at Whitchelstowe at the moment, a large number of housing there is social housing. That may be because of the recession, but the fact remains that social housing is being built. What we should be concentrating upon is building housing for those who need it in Swindon. My concern at the moment is that we're being led by massive uncontrolled regional development, and then there's a sudden need to fill empty homes and fill them with people from wherever. Now, I'm not saying that they don't need a home, but we've got to ask ourselves a question: is that right for Swindon? Are we really doing all we can to make provision for those who live here already? And are we just building homes for the sake of it, as opposed to building homes for people who need jobs and who work in the local area? It's a big question. Not enough time to discuss it now, but that's another issue that I'm particularly passionate and concerned about and will be working on in the years ahead.
So, in summary, basically, encouraging businesses to come into Swindon.
Yeah.
Looking at improving the rail transport, not only in speed and efficiency, but also in cost.
Oh, yeah.
Because the cost is disproportionate to the rest of the country and probably to the rest of Europe as well.
I think so. I think we're being penalised unfairly.
Do you think that a Conservative government is going to be able to achieve this in light of the economic crisis?
Well, this is what my personal pledge is to Swindon, that I will work as hard as I can in difficult economic circumstances to get the best deal for the town.
I can ask no more. Robert, thank you very, very much for coming along. You've got 27 days. You are the 33rd most important site for the government to achieve. All the best.
Thanks, Ian.